History is, and has always been, a wildly contested place. Throughline has long understood this. Their work always offers us a deeper context to stories we think we know. This is again the case with their magisterial 3-part miniseries on Afghanistan. Rather than treat Afghanistan as a threat, an afterthought, or purely tragedy, as we've so often made to think of it, Throughline centers Afghanistan in its own story and presents a welcome contrast to how the country is often talked about in the US media. It pulls back the frame to consider the country's centuries-long civilization and offers a much-needed sense of what's been lost in the region, across decades, across centuries even. For its historical and moral clarity, Throughline Afghanistan is awarded a Peabody.
No amount of military force would ever deliver a stable, united, secure Afghanistan, as known in history as the graveyard of empires.
The graveyard of empires is an imperial framework of understanding the imperial projects in Afghanistan. It's, rather derogatory to say that we're living in a graveyard that's actually the cradle of history. And nowhere in that reckoning are the people of Afghanistan.
The people of Afghanistan. Their histories, their stories, their legends, their triumphs, and their tragedies.
First, this is such an honor. I'm not even going to lie and say that I'm speechless because I have it all written down. We sat down and made sure that we wouldn't forget anybody. So first we want to thank the University of Georgia, the Peabody Awards staff and board, and of course the jurors of this year's awards who believed Throughline was worthy of this recognition. Back in 2016, Ramtin and I were junior producers sitting at neighboring cubicles at NPR headquarters in Washington, D.C., and we became friends and soon discovered we had a lot in common. We were both born outside the US and grew up in Muslim immigrant communities, Ramtin in an Iranian community in Maryland, me in a Palestinian community in New Jersey. We both had love for history and cinema and sound design, and we shared a deep conviction that history matters and context matters, and that it should be at the center of NPR's journalism. We can't know who we are without knowing where we've been.
So out of our friendship, we started working on a show together, and we made it. We made a pilot, we produced it, scored it, sound designed it, and it eventually became a weekly narrative, long-form show that tells emotional stories of people from the past in their proper historical context. We're trying to make a show that's unapologetically challenging a lot of narratives that we accept in society. We've covered topics ranging from evangelicalism to policing in America to how mosquitoes change the world. So last year, ahead of the withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan and the anniversary of 9/11, we decided we wanted to do our own take on the story of Afghanistan. We wanted to tell a story about the country, the people, the mythology of Afghanistan that wasn't just centered in tragedy and suffering. We wanted to tell a story of Afghanistan that put it in its proper historical place, where it's always been, at the center of the world.
The fact that the Peabody Awards has chosen to recognize this series and our experimental, adventurous show is a testament to the hard work of our amazing team and the organization, NPR, who has supported our vision from the beginning. So we want to shout them all out. Thank you to our teammates, our fellow producers and editors who made this series: Lawrence Wu, Lane Kaplan-Levinson, Julie Kane, Victory Veyes, Yolanda Sangwani, Tamar Charney, Anya Steinberg, Adriana Tapia, Miranda Matariegos, Greg Valdespino, and Kevin Vocal.
Thank you to NPR's head of programming, Anya Grundman, for believing in us and always standing up for our work and our ideas. Thank you to Izzy Smith for being the first person to listen to our show and telling us that we were on the right track. To Nigel Eaton for giving us our name and for leading this show into existence. Also, we want to thank Guy Raz, Jeff Rogers, and Neva Grant for teaching us how to make radio and always being there to support us, especially in the beginning. And thank you to all the amazing guests who made this series possible. All of your research, all of your storytelling is what made this series what it was.
And finally, we want to focus all the attention on the Afghan people who have endured so much over the last 40 years. We hope all those who listen to this series will appreciate the beauty and strength of your culture and your history. Thanks.
Thank you.